I want to talk today about the cycles of astrological endings. We are, of course, in the year 2024, and this is a year of a lot of endings and beginnings, and this dance between things being at 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees, which is the end, and 0, 1, and 2 degrees, which is the beginning. So we're dealing with Pluto in Capricorn, which is the end of an era, Neptune in Pisces, the exploration of our own emotional depth, Uranus in Taurus, questioning what really matters, Mars in Cancer, being willing to fight for the rights of all, and other things, but I want to focus on those at the moment. I'm sure everyone is feeling how Pluto going retrograde and moving back into Capricorn is bringing up many things. When any planet is at 29 degrees, it is considered a critical moment in that planet's journey through that sign because Pluto is the most outer planet, and the fact that it has been going through Capricorn since 2008. We are now in that last cycle of Pluto in this dark place, and we are to see if we have actually gained the lessons that our soul was required to learn. I know all of us will be grateful when it is over on November 19th, but until then, think back on how you have grown and what is so very different. I remember seeing this pattern before 2008 and knowing that it was going to divide the world. I honestly thought that the energy was going to divide China between communism and capitalism, which I see is still true, but I did not see how intensely it was going to impact our own country. I knew the conservative movement would be very strong, but I did not believe it had the power to pull us backward as far as it has. I think that Pluto in Capricorn has shown us our weaknesses and vulnerabilities. It has shown us what we cannot be silent, that we cannot be silent in the face of those whose voices of hate and bigotry call out the loudest. It has shown us that silence is complicity. Capricorn is a serious sign that says, time to grow up. Maturity is not about how much time has passed, but about how much wisdom is applied into concrete action. Maturity is about standing up for truth and honesty, not about standing up for a person or a thing. Maturity is about owning our own power, not giving that power away to others. Maturity is about taking responsibility, not about finding blame. Pluto teaches us through disempowering because that brings our awareness to the problems we have been ignoring. It teaches that only through the awareness of the problem can any transformation actually happen. Pluto in Capricorn was to show us that situations, institutions, do not have the power. They only have the power that we, the people, give them. Add to this, Pluto and Neptune have been in sextile for decades. While such a length of time has allowed us to adjust to it, it has brought up the issues of our own self-delusions and if we have weaknesses around discernment and critical thinking. Pluto is at 29 degrees. Neptune is at 28 degrees, and also Uranus is at 29 degrees. This is a very rare thing for all three outer planets to be this close in such critical degrees. Pluto forces us to take responsibility for our choices in either actions or inactions. Neptune shatters our most cherished illusions and shows us our vulnerabilities and weaknesses. And Uranus keeps throwing over the game board and forcing us to make changes even when we are very uncomfortable about it. What is clear is that the universe is pointing out that what we have been doing is no longer acceptable. We are being asked to embrace new technology, move towards more inclusive and progressive policies, and shift away from so much division and hate. We have been living through a time of tremendous emotional upheaval and turmoil. This change is coming from such a deep place of exhaustion, and we are finally in a spot where we cannot stomach any more distortion, projection, hate, or fear. Add to this, in early November, Mars will also go to 28, 29 degrees of Cancer and form one more challenging opposition to Pluto before it leaves Capricorn. To say that there will be a kerfuffle is an understatement. Mars is a highly volatile planet and a planet that will cause agitation and anger. I expect there to be a party that will try to steal the election again. I expect confrontations and dangerous situations to arise where people are in danger and threatened. You might ask, What is the lesson of all this upset? Well, I believe it is to make us finally stand up and decide to protect our rights and what is sacred to us. This aspect forces us to remember those before us who fought and died for our freedoms that we have today. It is a reminder that one has to be willing to stand up and loudly proclaim what is right. While we navigated Pluto and Capricorn, there were those that wanted to become billionaires and control financial markets and monopolize power for themselves. With Pluto and Capricorn, there were those that wanted to control the material world. But Pluto going back into Aquarius on November 19th makes us want to control how information is shared and how to use it to create better human relationships and connections. Pluto in Aquarius wants to do what is right for the planet, not for a few billionaires. Pluto in Capricorn favored the ambitions that leaned into money, control, and power. After all, Capricorn is a goat, and Capricorn's ruling planet Saturn is a wagon carrying goods up the mountain. But Aquarius is the water bearer. That means that the abundance is going to flow back down to the people and move toward sharing and contributing to the greater good. Pluto in Aquarius is about giving back. Pluto in Aquarius is about feeling accomplished without needing recognition and fame. There were those when Pluto was in Capricorn that wanted to be seen as gods, but soon that power is going to be asked to be more human, more kind, more caring, and more giving. Pluto in Aquarius is about embracing our uniqueness and allowing that to be seen in a new way. This transition of Pluto intends to strip us down and show us that the path to transformation begins by letting go of the ego and instead embrace that we must work together to make a better world. Take a look at how much of your ego has been released during the Pluto and Capricorn transit. Notice how much you have changed and become more honest, vulnerable, and real. I hope you can see that this transit has allowed you to become a nicer person on all levels. I hope you can see this new self and that you notice that when you don't need to defend your ego so harshly, you have more energy to work with. Big things now seem to matter less, but we get more pleasure from those little things instead. I believe the great lesson of Pluto and Capricorn is to have compassion for ourselves, to recognize that power will not make us happy, to see that when you only reach for material success, you end up alone, and that such a thing is no longer enough. Thanks, everyone.